Your post-study career plan is very important when you're going to be making an application for a scholarship or even applying to a university. But if I'm also being honest, your post-study career plan is less to do with the university or the scholarship body. It's more to do with you. You are an individual who has a plan. I'm hoping you have one. And you are somebody who thinks about the future. It is important to be able to think about where you see your life going in the future. And when we are looking at post-study career plan, the idea is to get that particular picture of the future that you're thinking about for yourself. And in this video, I'm just going to look at some of the things that are worth thinking about when you are going into the direction of your post-study career plan. Because whether you're going to be applying for a job, looking for an internship, applying for a scholarship or a fellowship, there has to be some sort of a sense of where you're going with your life, which is your future plan. And the way that I think about it, especially when it comes to university applications or scholarship applications, is to get into a mind where I have gotten the degree, I have gotten the scholarship, I have finished my studies. What's next? And as a Malawian, I even paint it by thinking about I have landed at an international airport in my country. I have a degree in hand, I have my luggage in hand, and all the other things, the skills I said I wanted to get, I've gotten them. What is the plan? And there's already a formula that has already been used and has been developed that you can already use as a resource. When you're looking at your post-study career plan or your future, normally it's going to be broken down into a short-term plan, a mid-term plan, and a long-term plan. So let's start with a short-term plan. The short-term plan, in my understanding, and also the various resources that I've been able to engage with, they look at your plan between 0 to 2 years. And again, you're going back to, you have the resources, you have the knowledge, you have the experience that you said you wanted to get. What does life look like for you? And here, because you have 24 months, there is only so much that you can do. So when you're thinking about this particular 24 months, it is always very important to be very much aware of what you can achieve, what can be delivered within 24 months. It's okay to be ambitious, but at the same time, also be aware of the timeline that you have within 24 months. Another thing that is also worth thinking about is the context that you're working with. You understand the context of your country, you understand the context of your continent, whether your post-study career plan is going to go in the direction of finding a job or you're going to be establishing an enterprise. You are very familiar about the complexities and what can be realistically achieved within those 24 months. Have a plan that recognizes all these things. Again, I am not saying you shouldn't be ambitious. I'm saying be ambitious, but also recognize the realities in your country when you're looking at your plan in terms of your 24-month plan, which is a short-term plan. Then there's a mid-term plan, and the mid-term plan can range between 3 to 5 years. With a mid-term plan, you have almost settled down. You have spent over 24 months post your study. You should have at least found some sort of ground. If you're looking for a job, hopefully you should have found a job. And in the midterm is where you're trying to think about what can you then do with this particular job. Again, when you're also thinking about your midterm plan, which is between 3 years to 5 years, be realistic. Recognize your country, recognize the realities that you're dealing with, recognize the context that you're working with, and think about what can realistically be achieved within this particular time. Then we have the long-term plan, which is usually 5 years going forward. And usually the plans that are 5 years going forward are legacy plans. These are big plans, things that you're thinking about achieving before you retire. And when I'm having a conversation with people about this particular plan, the long-term plan, I often ask them to do a very simple exercise. Think about your retirement party. You have been invited to a party where you are the subject. You have just retired, and someone wants to give a speech, or a few people want to say something about who you are or what contributions you have made. What would you like them to say about you? So when you take time to start to think about the content of that particular speech, usually these are things that are going to fall within that legacy plan, that long-term plan. So when you are thinking about your post-study career plan, think about the short term. So immediately after you finish your studies, the very first 24 months, what does that look like for you? Again, recognizing the realities of where you want to place yourself, which direction you'd like to take. In the midterm, what does that look like? Which in my opinion, usually midterm is basically where you are now building, because in the short term, you are basically just founding some sort of ground, and in the midterm is where you're building. And in the long term is where you're now thinking about legacy stuff. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in the next one.